In August 1982, Michael began work on his new album. There was no question who he wanted to work with. Quincy Jones. Quincy knew the best musicians and songwriters in the business. But more importantly, he understood Michael Jackson. Michael trusted Quincy musically and personality. Michael's dream was still to record the most popular album in the world. After the success of Off the Wall, he thought this might be his chance to make his dream come true. He and Quincy listened to more than 300 possible songs for the album. Michael and Quincy both thought this was going to be Michael's most exciting project. It was going to be hard work, but they wanted it to be perfect. Michael wrote 3 of the songs, and he and Quincy chose for the album Thriller. They were wanna be starting something. MC Cartney. The song they sang together was called The Girl Is Mine. In October 1982, The Girl Is Mine was released as a good single before the album was released. People thought The Girl Is Mine was a nice song, but not very exciting. If all the songs on Michael Jackson's new album are the same as The Girl Is Mine, they thought it will be a boring album. Thriller was released in December 1982. Michael Jackson's world and the world of popular music would never be the same. Thriller was a huge hit. It was the #1 album in the USA for 37 weeks. In the months after its release, people were buying more than 500,000 copies of Thriller every week. From 1982 until today, more than 110 million copies of Thriller have been bought by fans around the world. Michael Jackson's dream had come true. He had created the best-selling album in the world. At the age of 24, he was very rich and very successful. On the cover of the album Thriller, people saw a handsome, well-dressed, and very successful young man. That was the public Michael. It was a picture of how he wanted to be seen. The private Michael lived in a childlike fantasy world. In 1983, Michael's father, Joe, was having financial problems. The answer was to sell 50% of their Encino home to Michael. Michael then destroyed much of the house and built a small version of Disneyland's Main Street, USA. Michael said that Disneyland was his favorite place on earth. Now he could go to Disneyland anytime he wanted. He could play his favorite games and ride his favorite rides, and no one would trouble him. There was a smaller version of his favorite Disneyland ride, Pirates of the Caribbean. There were puppets and robots that he told a reporter are just like real people. I feel comfortable with these figures. They are more personal friends. In his backyard, he created his own private zoo. There were tropical birds, deer, a giraffe, a llama named Louie, and Michael's 8-foot snake, Muscles. He also built a 35-seat theater where he could watch his favorite movies, usually Disney cartoons. Sometimes he hired actors from Disneyland to come to his house. He had parties for Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Snow White, and the 7 Dwarfs. In his bedroom, there were 5 mannequins, life-size plastic models of people. The mannequins were of women of different races. He would dress them in the latest fashions and talk to them as if they were real people. They were his friends, he told people. Being an entertainer, you just can't tell who is your friend. So I surround myself with people I want to be my friends. And I can't do that with mannequins. I'll talk to them. The King of Pop. In 1983, the world was in love with Michael Jackson. They talked about his clothes, his single glove, his white socks, and how his pants did not go below his ankles. In March, Billie Jean was the #1 song in the world. In the same month, his contract with his father and brothers ended. He was now legally free from his father and brothers, and he liked it that way. He did not want to be in the Jacksons anymore. So when in the same month he was asked to perform with his brothers, he hated the idea. Suzanne DePass was the president of Motown Productions. She was trying to organize a television show to celebrate Motown's 25th anniversary. It was not easy. Berry Gordy had had difficult relationships with many of his stars. When DePass asked them to appear in the show, many said no. Diana Ross refused to appear with the Supremes. Instead, DePass asked Joe if Michael would appear with the Jackson 5, which would include Jermaine this time. All but one of the brothers liked the idea. The one who did not like it, of course, was Michael. Michael also did not have good feelings about Berry Gordy. He was still angry because of the way he had treated the family when they left Motown. Joe liked the idea of the Jackson 5 appearing on the show very much. He wanted to see his sons back together. He also saw a way to make a lot of money if he could arrange a Jackson 5 album and tour after the show. With Michael's great success with Thriller, he thought millions of people would be interested in seeing the Jackson 5 together again. Suzanne DePass was worried that the show would be silly without any big Motown stars. Berry Gordy called Diana Ross and finally persuaded her to appear. Gordy also called Michael, but he still said no. So Gordy decided to surprise Michael one day. Michael was in a recording studio and Gordy walked in the door. Michael was shocked and a little nervous. Soon, however, they were smiling and talking about the old times. When Gordy asked him again to appear on the show, Michael said that he would. There was one thing he wanted, however. He would sing with his brothers, but he also wanted to sing a song on his own. Gordy quickly agreed. He thought Michael would sing a Motown song, but Michael said that he wanted to sing Billie Jean. Gordy was not sure what to say. Michael told him it was Billie Jean or nothing, so Gordy finally agreed. Michael loved the moment that he and Berry Gordy shook hands. Now he was telling Berry Gordy what to do. In May, 50 million people watched Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, and Forever. When the Jackson 5 appeared, they sang several of their early Motown hits. Then it was Michael's turn. Nobody in his family knew what he was going to do. With his brothers watching from behind the stage, he began to sing Billie Jean. His brothers had heard the song already, but when they saw Michael's wonderful dance moves, they could not believe it. Nobody could believe it. Michael's family, the audience in the theater, and the 15 million people watching the show were sure about one thing. Michael Jackson was the king of pop.